welcome to TMZ Live. There was a big, I would even argue, monumental moment in the Luigi Mangione case today. The judge has thrown out two of the murder charges, both of which involve alleged terrorism.
Saying that the judge said that that terrorism does not apply to the alleged crime here with Luigi Mangione allegedly murdering Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare.
The judge is essentially saying that to have a charge of murder with terrorism, the perpetrator needs to instill fear in a large group of people, and believes that in this case it was targeted in such a specific way that it didn't strike fear in a large enough group.
What's interesting about the judge saying that is, as the judge is saying that, there is a large group of people outside the courthouse cheering for Luigi Mangione, cheering for the judge's decision afterward. And Luigi's attorneys walked out after court.
Looked almost stunned.
Seemed a little stunned, but they spoke to us about the decision. And then there was this weird moment with Luigi's attorneys and the fans, which sounds weird to say, but that's how they were acting.
How do you feel about today with Luigi?
It's a great day. It's a big win. It's the first of many.
How do you feel about the fans?
By the way, they stood there for almost a minute just listening to
They're protesting.
Let me tell you
They're protesting, which is the First Amendment.
No, but let me tell you what my problem is with that. This crowd is not saying Luigi Mangione is not guilty, is innocent. This crowd is saying he did it and we're happy. That's what I think this crowd is saying.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of both.
The crowd is saying that it was justified.
That's what the crowd is saying.
He was justified in doing what he did.
This is a crowd saying he was justified in doing what he did.
Yes.
And, you know, we were talking earlier today in the office about a poll that 1 in 3 students in America believe violence can be an appropriate reaction to free speech.
Yes.
And that is where we are in this country. And look at what happened to Charlie Kirk last week. And look at this. I mean, you've got people out there. And again, they're not saying he's innocent. I think they're saying he did it.
Well, this is obviously a supportive crowd, but you would hope that what's going on in the courtroom is insulated from this type of pressure, right? What went on in the courtroom about terrorism and so forth was based on the law, and that's the way it should proceed. If the terrorism charge was inappropriate and it's thrown out, that's appropriate. But this is different. This is leveraging the public sentiment.
And we should say that it's not like murder is off the table. Notably, he's being charged federally with murder using a weapon and
stalking.
And stalking as a predicate.
And with those 3 elements, he is eligible for the death penalty if convicted.
In the federal case.
And the federal case is really where all the marbles are.
That's right. He's still facing Altoona, Pennsylvania charges too. He has a lot on his plate, and still second-degree murder in New York as well, even though the first degree with terrorism is gone. They could have gone first degree premeditated if they wanted to, but they didn't.
Yeah, but I think they can always change the charges
can amend
now.
it. Absolutely.
Which they're clearly going to do. But they were trying to make this a terrorism case,
And the judge said no.
and it didn't fly with the judge. I'm surprised at this. I'm actually surprised. The judge had a lengthy opinion.
Yeah, and to your point, some of the terrorism is intimidating people. The civilian population of CEOs and people like that are intimidated in the wake of Luigi, that other people will copy him and so forth.
Yeah.
So there is an intimidation of a larger...
People were putting signs up about other CEOs.
Yeah, they've beefed up security and so forth, so the court didn't buy it.
The group's not big enough, apparently, to instill the kind of fear that would be necessary to file a terrorism charge connected to murder.
Right.
I'm Suzanne Roxanne, and I'm in New Mexico. I'm a former prosecutor. I'm now a criminal defense attorney. I'm not surprised that they dropped the terrorism charge. And I don't think this is a loss for the prosecution, because murder, the crime of murder is still on the table. The death penalty is still on the table. And I actually don't think the prosecution ever believed they were going to win a terrorism case, because while I agree he's intimidating technically other CEOs, I have a feeling this is more about his specific intent, and they just can't win on that case from my perspective. But again, it's not a loss for the prosecution.
Well, but terrorism is a big issue in this case, and the judge rejected it. And we have somebody who has a lot of history with that issue.
Yes, joining us now, the former Deputy Director at DHS for Counterterrorism, Jeremy Baker, has more than 20 years experience in the department, and he is joining us now. Jeremy, welcome to TMZ Live.
Thanks for having me.
So, Jeremy, the judge said that what Luigi Mangione did, at least according to New York state law, was not terrorism because it didn't have that widespread impact on the community in terms of creating fear. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I think it's important to remember in this context, right? There are three different criminal cases proceeding against Luigi Mangione. There are two state cases, one in New York, one in Pennsylvania, and one in federal court that doesn't have a court date or a trial date scheduled yet, right? So we're dealing just with the New York State case here. And what the judge said specifically was Luigi Mangione was expressing an animus towards United Healthcare and the healthcare industry in general, but he didn't find compelling evidence that the goal was to intimidate and coerce a civilian population at large to bring them on to a brand new sort of ideology or to impose a particular political ideology. And those are kind of the hallmarks of what you look for in a terrorism case. So
it's the lack of a political ideology, because you can make the argument, and certainly I remember in the days after the murder, that there were people who were large numbers of people who were fearful for their lives. There were posters up around New York of the next CEO that had to be taken out. Certainly the CEOs were afraid, but I think just in general in New York City, people were wondering, is this going to become commonplace? So, I understand what the judge is saying. There wasn't a political ideology here, but certainly there was fear that was inflicted on a good portion of the population.
I don't disagree with you there whatsoever. I think, a couple of key points there. There was not, per the judge, there was not sufficient evidence that he intended to affect government policy or influence government policy or changes by intimidation or coercion. Those are the exact words for the terrorism statute in New York that he's being tried there under. So the judge is not discounting that he caused fear among, say, the CEO class or the healthcare management class. But what he's saying was there was no sort of coherent attempt to influence writ large major government positions or things like that. And it's important to note that the New York statute is actually based on the U.S. federal statute, right? It derives directly from that. He is still facing plenty of charges, including the second-degree murder charge. And then, of course, he still has the federal terrorism, or the federal case against him, which includes those charges and for which he faces the death penalty. So this is just one small piece.
So I think the principle of what the judge said is really important. So let's go to a different state now and assume that the same principle would apply since it's based on a federal statute. Let's go to Utah and look at Tyler Robinson, the accused assassin of Charlie Kirk. Would a situation like that be considered terrorism?
Yeah, I think that's a really important question that we all got to be looking at in the coming days to see what charges are brought. And it's worth noting that oftentimes, initial charges will come out to hold somebody.
But using the standard that the judge applied, do you think that would be looked at as terrorism?
It's a really good question. I think certainly the act has caused a lot of fear and a lot of concern. What's not, I think, really clear yet, which still needs to come out into the investigation, is was there a coherent sort of political ideology that was behind this killing that was intended to influence, cause fear or intimidation among the population or certain parts of the population? And that will come out more in the investigation. It's certainly a possibility. If there is revealed that, hey, this person had very particular ideology, the goal of this killing was to influence and to cause fear among particular groups or particular people, absolutely I could see terrorism charges being brought against Tyler Robinson.
when you were at DHS, would the department have seen the Kirk assassination as a terrorist act?
I think we would have taken a really, really hard look at it and done some intelligence assessments and coordinated closely with the Department of Justice on the investigation. What you want to look for in that case is, is this? I think the initial term we would have used as the information was coming out was this appears to be what I would call targeted violence, where you have somebody, a perpetrator, in this case, Tyler Robinson, who appeared to have an issue or a fixation with Charlie Kirk. And he was acting on that in a very deliberate manner, targeting him with violence, hence the term. So I think we would have started there, and then we would have followed and worked the investigation with FBI and DOJ to see if we could make that determination as to whether it would be terrorism.
Okay. Well, look, we really appreciate you jumping on. Thank you so
Jeremy.
much.
Happy to be on. Thanks.
Thanks,
All right.
Jeremy.
Coming up.
Jamie Lee Curtis is speaking up on Mark Maron's podcast, talking about her feelings about Charlie Kirk and the assassination and her feelings about all the violent imagery that we are now inundated with.
Be right back.
Well, Jamie Lee Curtis is speaking up and saying what I think millions of people are feeling still after Charlie Kirk's assassination. And what she's speaking about is what the long-term effects of this could be for everyone who, look, we remember back to last week on Wednesday when that happened. Instantly there was video. And even if you didn't, and I heard a lot of people talking about this who said they heard about it and they didn't want to see it.
Right.
But you went onto social media and it was
Everywhere.
served up there in your algorithm. This is Jamie Lee Curtis on Mark Maron's podcast talking about her feelings about Charlie Kirk and the assassination and her feelings about all the violent imagery that we are now inundated with.
I disagreed with him on almost every point I ever heard him say.
Yeah.
But I believe he was a man of faith.
Mm.
And I hope in that moment when he died that he felt connected to his faith, even though I find his ideas were abhorrent to me.
Yeah.
I still believe he's a father and a husband and a man of faith. And I hope whatever connection to God means that he felt it. We as a society are bombarded with imagery. So we don't know what the longitudinal effects of seeing those towers come down over and over and over and over again, or watching his execution over and over and over again.
She was making a reference to, they recorded that on September 12th. So she was referring to the fact that on the 9/11 anniversary, we had seen the videos of the towers coming down. And then also she made the point that her birthday is on November 22nd.
Which was John
and
F.
so
Kennedy's
she says
assassination.
every year on her birthday, she sees the Zapruder film. It's, these are things that we are, unfortunately have become part of life. Almost of our American culture.
And it used to be that people would say that you almost became inured to violence when you saw it in movies and television shows and games because it doesn't have real consequences. But now we've seen so much with real consequences, and the whole notion that because it was a movie, people mistook it. That was always an excuse, but now we're actually seeing it, and it's still happening.
We just talked about Luigi Mangione and Brian Thompson's murder and what young people now think about violence. And is that opinion of young people that violence is an option, does that come from seeing all of this violence in real life.
They used to say it was because of Call of Duty and other games.
Or music.
Or music lyrics.
And maybe that was part of it.
Yeah.
But now that they're actually seeing real violence, it's getting embraced by a lot of people.
It is. Although I feel like I've heard a lot and seen a lot of people who have, especially ones who saw some of the horrific videos of the assassination, who have said, like, I cannot get that out of my head. And it's different than a movie when you see see that.
It's
I can't get it out of my head. It's seared into my memory.
You can detach it in a movie,
You know it's
right?
fake, yeah.
And you can say it's fake.
Yeah.
This you knew was very real. And I remember it's interesting she would bring up 9/11.
Yeah.
It is exactly what I felt watching the towers come down that day.
Yeah.
And even before they came down, just
knowing
people jumping, that's a kind of violence that you can't
again, that for many, many years, everything was blamed on movies because you didn't see the real consequences. We now see it. It's there. It's on social media. And more people seem to be embracing that.
There is a segment
culturally.
There's a segment of people who seemingly think it's okay to kill somebody whom you disagree with.
Hi, I'm Marie Doyle in Ireland, and I think there's a really important message here with Jamie. Although she completely disagreed with Charlie Kirk's politics, she still had the ability to separate that and show humanity, and we do need more of that. We have to be able to disagree and still show compassion, but we shouldn't have to see these horrific things on our mobile phones all the time, but they should not be happening, and we don't know what damage it's doing to us, and especially the younger generation.
And it is.
Yeah. So as we speak now, Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin is going to be in court later today.
Virtually.
Virtually, and they will read the charges to him. We know that the federal government has said that they intend to go for the death penalty. Even the governor of Utah says they...
well, it's really it's a state thing. That's the state of Utah has a death penalty by firing squad, and they have already said they intend to seek that death penalty against Tyler Robinson.
Right, and we actually learned some information about how that actually works. So if he were to be found guilty and they do indeed go for the death penalty,
they actually did this by firing squad. I think it was 1985.
Well, the last time they did it was in 2010.
2010?
For Ronnie Lee Gardner, who committed his murder in 85.
Oh, right.
It's, I talked to a journalist who actually witnessed the execution. It'll take about 3 minutes. He's not going to get one bullet if it gets to this point. He'll get 4. 5 volunteer law enforcement officials.
And they have a dummy bullet so that nobody knows.
Nobody will know who took the final shot.
Right.
It's quick, it's not graphic, but whether or not he's going to fill it is a little unclear, because when it happened back in 2010, there was movement in the body after shots were fired. It's not clear if it was a muscle spasm or a reaction to pain.
Right.
They wait a few minutes.
Do we know how many states still have execution by firing squad?
Not off the top of my head, but it's very few.
Idaho?
I think
Idaho
you're right.
does, because we remember when Koberger case was going.
That's right.
Idaho does. I know Utah. And someone's saying there are 3 other states.
And again,
so 5 states total.
Cart before the horse. He is in court to hear the charges. There will be a trial. If he's convicted, this is put on the table.
And again, this is in light of, I know we're saying if he's convicted, it is alleged at this point, but there is also that report about what he said on Discord.
Oh, God, yeah.
Where he confessed.
Well, they say they found DNA on the weapons that match him, or the weapon. So, yes, there is a lot of evidence there.
Hi, my name is Alan, and I'm from Pennsylvania. Death by firing squad, that seems like a lot. It seems like a bit much to me. I mean, I think that people should have some kind of day in court, and then that day in court should lead them to death penalty, something. If you're going to do a lethal injection is okay, but I feel like firing squad, it's a bit much. I understand they did kill someone that way. I understand that viewpoint, but I feel like lethal injection or maybe electric. You know, electric chairs a lot.
I got to tell you something. When I was a reporter for CBS in Los Angeles, I was at San Quentin for I think the first execution in a long, long time, and I witnessed it. And it was death by lethal injection. It was not immediate. And it's interesting, a lot of that goes wrong.
Yeah.
And it is graphic when
there
it does.
are some who would argue that
tell you
firing squad is probably the faster way to go.
But lethal injection has gone awry in a number of cases, and what I saw was definitely not immediate.
Coming up.
And just like that, Taylor Swift is back in the public eye after her
disappearing act.
Her mysterious disappearing act at Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday, but she was at her fiance's restaurant celebrating Patrick Mahomes' birthday.
Be right back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Phoebe Rexa was looking hot on vacation.
Look at the water, too. Did you just say look at the water?
I mean, I'll be honest, that is what I was looking at. And just like that, Taylor Swift is back in the public eye after her
disappearing act.
Her mysterious disappearing act at Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday. She was very, we showed you this video where we believed very strongly was her, and now we believe it even more.
That is a bulletproof shield. And
that was
going
moved through the hallway so as she walked into the suite.
I got some information about this, actually. I got some new info, but here's the thing. She was in Kansas City because hours after the game, she appeared.
Out in public, no bulletproof screen, but she was at her fiance's restaurant celebrating Patrick Mahomes' birthday. Patrick, Travis, and Kane Brown was there also with is that his girlfriend or his wife?
Wife.
His wife.
All there with their significant others.
All significant others celebrating Patrick's birthday at Patrick and Travis's restaurant, 1587.
This is right after they lost.
Right after to the Eagles, who they lost in the Super Bowl to. So it's.
And they lost.
Well, not just lost. They lost because
Travis
passed the ball to Travis,
and then he dropped it.
Oops.
That was a bad. I don't know how you go out celebrating after this, or
but
like.
They looked happy.
They look. Go back.
They
go
do
back to
look
the picture.
happy.
Guys, they're professional.
They look
professional
happy.
football players. They lose games every now and then. Wait, what is Travis?
He's wearing shorts. He's wearing like.
But they were like really long shorts.
Yes, but they're like the new trend that he's trying to pull off. She cannot like this. And then she's like, you know what? I will change him after we get married. I just have to put up with this style right now until we officially say I do, and then he'll change it.
Okay, so I got some recon on something. So we showed you that screen, the bulletproof screen.
Yeah, of her walking.
There was no video of Taylor watching in one of the suites, which we always would see before.
She was always sitting by the mom, by Donna.
So we thought that maybe there was some deal where
Between
don't show
the
us.
League and, right.
That's
where
right.
they said, we're not going to show you.
I found out, no deal, that the cameras, they were kind of oblivious to the screen and everything else. They were actually trying to find her, and they couldn't.
No.
So
I want to know where she was.
Every time there was a play with Travis, you know that there were probably 2 or 3 different camera operators
Looking for
her.
Taylor.
Just looking
where,
for
and
her.
they could never. Where is she?
I'm guessing either she wore a wig or she was sitting far enough back
in the
suite.
I think very, very far back in the suite, and like never even approached it. She watched the game on a TV
But can
screen.
can you see the field if you're sitting in the back of a?
Really.
Not really, no.
I mean, it depends on where you are, but
yeah, because there's
for the
like
most
lower
part, you're
seats.
watching on.
Yeah, she's probably like in a low
monitor.
chair watching in the very back, and never stood up, never did anything. When she stood up, probably everyone behind her stood up so
But
she
again,
could leave.
What's interesting is she took those steps to stay out of the spotlight. Maybe that's to stay out of the spotlight, but then you went out for a very public dinner.
Well,
at
just
this
think,
restaurant in Kansas
it's a
City.
more contained space.
And they own it. So it was probably like most of the team, most of like their family and friends of Patrick. So like they probably knew more people and had more control.
And also, you can understand with all the history she has with stalkers and really scary stuff, that in the wake of everything that's happened.
Yeah, because we've done documentaries about her stalkers and every like procedures that she goes through, how she has like the quick tape that like goes over her. She has all this stuff, yeah.
Darian, Nashville. I don't blame Taylor for wanting that extra security while at the Chiefs game, even if that means that the fans of Travis and also Taylor couldn't see her. I do find it interesting, though, that she was seen at dinner. So it's nice to know that she's able to maintain a sense of privacy when she wants it, but also maintain security as well.
Yeah, I mean, she's not going to go underground. I mean, that's no way to live, but she's clearly taking precautions.
Coming up.
Authorities in Utah have now revealed a lot of new details about the case against Tyler Robinson.
Not long after the shooting, Tyler Robinson confessed to his roommate, according to these documents, that he had done it.
Be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. Authorities in Utah have now revealed a lot of new details about the case against Tyler Robinson, and they have his communications with his roommate. They have his communications as far as telling the roommate what his family knew or didn't know, what his family suspected. But even though he was not picked up until late Thursday,
10 o'clock Thursday night. On Wednesday,
his roommate
not
knew
long,
all of this.
not long after the shooting, Tyler Robinson confessed to his roommate, according to these documents, that he had done it because the roommate, according to the documents, said, "I thought they had the guy in custody," referring to an old man who was taken into custody almost immediately after this assassination. And Tyler Robinson said, "No, there was some crazy old guy.
Right.
It was me." And
literally said, "It was me. I did this," and apologized and said, I still have to go back. I wish I had picked up the rifle right after. But
the rifle was owned by his grandfather, and it was a unique kind of rifle. And what Tyler Robinson told the roommate was, "I had to drop it in the bush, change my clothes. I hope nobody finds it. My fingerprints are on it. I may have to go back. It's wrapped in a towel." So he had told the roommate all of this and then said to the roommate, "Do not talk to the media. Do not talk to the police. If the police come,
get
tell
a
them you want a lawyer.
and say nothing."
But it's interesting that the roommate knew, didn't come forward, but when the
Seemingly
police
did not come forward. Yeah, I mean, obviously didn't come forward.
Because on Thursday night, hours before the police came over there, they said they still didn't know who it was. When the police came over, they say the roommate then fully cooperated.
Right.
But silence for that day and a half.
And also the documents kind of revealed that it seems like the parents were starting to really piece this together because they had no idea that their son was involved in this at all until the day after, police released the photos of Tyler. And essentially the mom saw the photo and was like, "That really looks like, my son." Reached out to him. He said, "Oh, I'm at home sick. I was sick yesterday." But she still had suspicion, that looks like the son.
And also, his father called while he was talking to the roommate or texting the roommate.
Started asking questions.
And said, "My dad's calling, I'm not going to answer the phone."
Well, because he started calling because he saw the photo of the rifle and put it together, like the photo of him looks like him, the rifle looks really similar. So he was trying to, probably holding out hope it wasn't his son, like, "Hey, send me a photo of the rifle," which would have exonerated him.
Saying, "Is that you?"
Yeah, exactly.
And it seems really important. The reason why he was talking so much to the roommate is we now know that they were involved romantically. And he had obviously a lot of concern for this person, a biological male, transitioning into a woman who was saying, "I'm sorry I got you involved in this, my love," and trying to give them instructions how to stay safe and get rid of the information so that he could try to avoid police.
And he also, by the way, on that note, I believe, Brendan, help me out here, that he was referencing his animus toward Charlie Kirk with respect to his position on gay rights.
Right. And he was also mentioning how he was really, one of the reasons he was ignoring the dad's call is his dad had become a diehard MAGA supporter. So he really leans into that in the text message exchange with the roommate. And then to go back to the roommate, the whole thing where I think the roommate didn't go to police right away is, this conversation to me reads very calm. The roommate's like taking his advice as he's fleeing the university's campus, and he's telling him, if the media calls, if the police call, do not talk to anyone, do not comment, get a lawyer.
By the way, there is a part of the exchange, though, where the roommate is clearly shocked.
They were asking him how long have you been planning this? And Tyler said a week. Why did you do this? It didn't sound like they had
and what
any
did he say?
idea.
The why did you do this was interesting on these documents.
There was the part,
One of you guys see it?
That, I think, Devin.
Hold on. Say again?
This is Robinson telling the roommate, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again." So it sounds like his plan didn't go according.
Alexa, right before that, there's a part where the roommate says,
Yeah.
expresses some shock.
Well, the first text is what with like 13 question marks.
And
then it goes, you're joking, right?
Yeah.
And he said, I am still okay, my love, but stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I have to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I hope to keep this secret until I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you.
Wow.
And the other thing that's interesting from the text messages is he says, this is my grandfather's rifle. I'm not sure if it has a serial number. There's no way it can be traced to me, but that's a $2,000 scope, which tells us, you know, he'd fired it before maybe, but he was pretty sure that he didn't go buy the gun to do this.
And it didn't seem part of his plan to leave the gun there. He said, I wish I went back and retrieved it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried my old man would do if I didn't bring it back to him.
So. This is a crazy amount of, I mean, it's all laid out there.
Right.
And it shows how much it was planned too, because he's talking about how he changed his outfit when he was dumping the rifle in the towel, in the bushes, in the woods.
But it also, shows that he
mentions-
didn't run. He stayed in the
mentions-
neighborhood. He was scoping out the cops. He knew what areas were blocked off for them to leave so he can go back and retrieve that gun.
Well, what's interesting is you mentioned that the roommate didn't know anything about this, but he goes, remember how I was engraving bullets? The messages are mostly a big meme to see if anyone notices the bulge ooh-woo on Fox News. I might have a stroke, all right. So the roommate knew he was carving bullets.
The roommate knew he was carving bullets, but that doesn't mean that he knew what he was about to do.
Yeah, but he knew he had weapons in the house.
Well,
I don't know, it
clearly
seems
knew.
very interesting.
But you could have weapons, and you know, piecing that together is, and you could even tell the roommate was shocked.
That's true.
I mean, when you look at when it is, but you know, there are a lot of people who are going to say, well, the roommate should have come forward. I don't think it's a crime if he harbored him and tried to keep him away from the police. That would be sort of, you know, accessory after the fact.
For sure.
But there doesn't seem to be any evidence of that, and the roommate cooperated. But it does seem like from that, the roommate knew hours after the shooting.
With all of this evidence, obviously he deserves his day in court, and he'll get a trial if he wants one. Why? I think a lot of people look at this and go, why do you need a trial? Right? I mean, no, my point is, why wouldn't he just strike whatever? They're going to go for the death penalty. So there's not even a plea deal to make.
I would just say, remember Brian Kohberger. The DA took a lot of heat for plea bargaining that down.
And I know the DA here is definitely thinking about
well,
this.
the DA,
neighboring state.
they have already said we're going for the death penalty. So he may want a plea bargain. I don't think they're going to plea bargain.
Nisi from Florida. You know, this case is so bizarre. This is almost like cut and dry for the DA. I mean, it's laid out on a perfect platter. The roommate situation does kind of throw me off because I feel like, although he's not responsible for anything and probably couldn't fathom that this would actually take place, I feel like sort of intuitively there are some red flags that you might want to kind of be like, okay, there's something going on with this kid. I don't know. I'm just interested to see how this whole trial plays out because I do agree it's right there. It's almost like what do we need it for? I'd like to see more of maybe how the defense is gonna even put anything together for this.
Yeah. What exactly is the defense?
This is where you throw a Hail Mary and go for the insanity defense. I mean, seriously.
Coming up.
Since the arrest of Tyler Robinson, there is a platform that a lot of people have been talking about. That is Discord. Is it a place where people are going to get radicalized? Joining us now is Will Carless, who focuses on extremism. Will, welcome to TMZ Live.
Be right back.
Well, since the arrest of Tyler Robinson, there is a platform that a lot of people have been talking about because it's gotten a lot of attention. That is Discord. You know, as we actually told you earlier, there was a message before he turned himself in where Robinson told his friends on Discord, hey, I did this thing. So what is this platform? And is it, as some people have feared, a place where people are going to get radicalized? Joining us now to discuss this is Will Carless. He is a USA Today reporter who focuses on extremism, and he is joining us now. Will, welcome to TMZ Live.
Thanks for having me on.
So, Will, you know, I've kind of been watching this debate back and forth, and there are some people who say that Discord is a safe haven for people to become radicalized air their grievances, and then take action. And others are saying that that's a scapegoat to blame Discord, that it's not about, it's sort of like with guns, where the NRA says, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Discord is the gun, not the person. Where do you fall on that?
It's an interesting analogy. I mean, look, I don't think it's really fair to blame Discord per se. I mean, look, Discord is the communication platform for young people these days. For a lot of young people, whether you're a gamer, whether you're someone who's online, you're communicating with your friends and with your communities on Discord. Now, in amongst those, there are some people who are into this stuff, who are radicalized, who are being radicalized on Discord. Is Discord to blame for that? Could they be doing more? I mean, can you blame cell phones for radicalization, right? I mean, people communicate on cell phones. Can you blame, pens and paper? I mean, that's just how kids communicate these days.
But how is it different, Will, in that is the point of Discord, I haven't been on this platform, that you can get in chat rooms that are private so that...
Privacy, yeah. It's all about privacy. If you remember Facebook groups, for example, remember you used to be able to join a group on Facebook and you kind of be hidden away from everybody else and you could have your private conversations. That's where this used to go on. Facebook kind of phased out groups. Now increasingly these people are using Discord because it offers anonymity, it offers safety and security. You can do stuff anonymously, you can communicate sort of to a certain level of secrecy. To a certain extent, people also do this on Signal, but Discord is very user-friendly. It's a very good place for people to kind of create groups where they can discuss things and communicate and connect.
So, the authorities, from the FBI on down, have been talking about Discord for a long time now. And it's not the first case where somebody acted out after getting radicalized. Have they tried to infiltrate Discord to prevent crime? I mean, is that possible to track people down if you do infiltrate?
The problem isn't really that. The problem is that these communities are sometimes 2, 3, 4, maybe a dozen people. So sort of finding them and getting inside them is the tricky bit. It's not like you're getting inside a chat room with thousands of people on it. This isn't like Reddit or something like that where lots of people are interacting and where that's out in the open. Discord is more like, it's like getting a small group of friends together in a room behind a bar, right? Unless you know that they're there, then you can't get inside. If you know they're there and you get invited in, you can get in. But then also you have to be invited. You have to know where it is. You have to be invited in. Then you can view it. And that's the biggest challenge for law enforcement.
So going forward, I know there are people who've called think that Discord should be more responsible in monitoring what's going on in these chat rooms. Is there a push for them to do that? Have they said whether or not that's something they're willing to do?
Many times when there is an extremist shooting, more often than not, they've communicated on Discord. So I think Discord is aware of this. Whether they're doing as much as they should be doing, I think you have to ask Discord that. Whether they're investing in it, you'd have to ask them that. But I know they're certainly aware of this, and it certainly keeps getting them a lot of bad press. So just from sort of general corporate communications, it's probably a good thing that they're looking at.
Even if Discord goes away, there will be another place on on the internet. Right. There will be another platform.
You're exactly right. I mean, I used to have a source who monitored these extremists online, and she literally had a database that she kept track of people, and she called it the whack-a-mole database because that's exactly right. They will move from one platform to another, to another, to another. As one gets shut down, as they get kicked off one, they'll move to another one. So it's incredibly difficult to stop these people from communicating with each other.
Well, Will, we so appreciate you coming on. Have a safe flight, and again, thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up.
Justin Bieber is going back on stage for 2 weeks. He's going to be one of the headliners at Coachella.
The last time he performed was in 2000 for an audience was in 2019 when he went on stage with Ariana Grande.
Right. I have a prediction.
Be right back.
Justin Bieber is going back on stage, not for a tour, but
for a night.
Probably the second best
two
thing.
nights.
Yes, for 2 weeks, he's going to be one of the headliners at Coachella. And the lineup was announced last night. Justin Bieber is going to be doing Saturday night.
Sabrina Carpenter is going to headline
Friday night.
And Karol G.
Karol G on Sunday. So a very pop lineup.
You know what's interesting? In our room, people were saying, of the three, Justin right now, even though he's the biggest star,
He's
is
the biggest name, but he's the
least relevant,
right,
in terms of right now, because Sabrina Carpenter and Karol G.
So Justin gets to go to Coachella as sort of the
legacy
veteran,
act.
the grizzled old veteran.
The legacy act.
Oh,
Well,
God.
the last time he performed was in 2000 for an audience was in 2019 when he went on stage with Ariana Grande.
Right.
He loves Coachella. We broke a story last year. He had a big party at Coachella. He rented part of the venue out. He has a house out in the desert.
I have a prediction.
What?
I have a prediction that in the next 12 months, Justin Bieber will do the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Oh, you think he's going to get a residency?
I mean, a residency can be 3 weeks.
Does he have that in him, though, to do all those shows?
Yeah, because
he hates
he's not
touring.
traveling. He's in Las Vegas. He could pull that off the way he's pulling Coachella off. And just the Sphere is such a cool venue.
Do you think that he's going to enjoy being on stage at Coachella so much that he's going to look for another opportunity to do something like a residency?
I think he likes performing. I think he hates touring.
And he likes these two albums he just came out with because they are very much all him.
The
so
Sphere.
maybe he's more open to that.
Vegas, baby.
Megan Foley, San Diego. This is my 5th year going to Coachella, and the last time I was this excited for a headliner was when Harry Styles was headlining. But I thought it was a prank when Coachella posted the lineup this early and said hard launch. Like, I was absolutely freaking out and screaming and yelling.
No, and I swear to God, this is not shade, but you are a cool cucumber. I love your saying, I'm very excited about Justin Bieber performing. What else you guys want to talk about?
Letitia in Dallas, and I'm here to talk about, hey, the roommate not giving out the text message. I would have said, look, man, he did it. He's on the way. You can talk and text at the same time. I'm telling you, Tyler killed Charlie. I don't want to be a part of that mess. Do not mix me up in the mess.
Believe me, what you're saying, that is going to be a conversation that's going to go on for many days right now on whether the roommate should have gone to cops. You know, was he scared? You know, was he's talking to a guy who just murdered somebody. And the guy saying, do not tell cops.
Right, exactly. And said, be quiet.
I don't know. One more.
Hi, I'm Adriana from Chicago, and I love that Taylor Swift had a date night, a triple date night. It looked like they had a really chill night away from all the fans and the crowds at the games, and I'm proud that, they got a low-key vibe going. It seemed like a great time.
And nobody dropped the steak.
You don't know that.
Coming up.
Just days before Cardi B's second album comes out, she is announcing a first. A world tour.
I did not realize she's never toured.
Cardi B has never actually done a proper tour.
Be right back.
Well, just days before Cardi B's second album comes out, she is announcing a first, a world tour.
I did not realize she's never toured.
Cardi B has never actually done a proper tour. She's done plenty of live shows, but not a full tour. So the Little Miss Drama Tour is going to kick off in February.
That's interesting.
That
there have been rumors that she's pregnant.
Which she has denied.
And that the birth is imminent, maybe next month. People are saying. She said no.
I don't know.
So
but bottom line is
her album comes out Friday. It's her sophomore album. It's been years since she's dropped an album.
Right.
But 5 of the songs have already been
songs
released.
That you know.
Right.
Some of the titles we can't say here. So you know that song.
You know that song.
But she'll be performing it live starting next year.